Pleasant greetings to all. This is a pre-Valentine lecturette on love, especially for those who specialize in love, married couples, and of course those called to the married vocation. But it is also a basic lesson on love for all of us. As a starting point, let us have a quick look at the stages of love, and for our purposes now, only within the context of marital love. The sure thing we know is that love and life are free choices. The book of Sirach tells us this. When God created man, He made him subject to his own free choice. If you choose, you can keep the commandments. They will save you. If you trust in God, you too shall live. He has set before man fire and water, life and death, good and evil. Whichever he chooses shall be given him. So, kumusta na ba ang love life mo? How is your love life? Let us briefly examine the different stages and kinds of love. The first stage is paghahangad or desire, marked by paglapit and pakikisama, the desiring and needing love or eros. The person here desires and needs the beloved. Initial attraction happens here. Desire is important though. Where there is purpose, there is a potential to seek complete actualization and individuality. Without this need love, no genuine love is possible. All loves start with paghahangad. Even the highest and noblest of loves has eros love embedded into it. However, because pure eros is in the dependency stage of human development, it can be so inviting and so deceiving. Many marital and friendly relationships are forged only by eros and unfortunately solely powered by it, never even moving out of dependency stage. Here the operant language is, I can't live without you, punctuated by the attitude of you. You are my reason to live. You are the reason for my misery. The second stage is pagmamahal. Pagbabahagi, pagkilala at pagpapahalaga happen here. It is the sharing and valuing love, or in Greek, philia. With emotional maturity, which hopefully comes with age, this desire or paghahangad may develop into shared love, the second stage, also known as philia in Greek, or companionship or friendship love. Formal courtship starts here. One recognizes and respects the values of the other. Thus, we call it pagmamahal or pagmamahalaga sa kapwa stage, where valuation of each other happens. In the philia stage, eros does not disappear, It is heightened instead and educated. The third stage is the PAG-IBIG or the pag-ako and the PAG-BABAGO stage. It is the transforming love, or what we call the agape 1 stage. As filial love grows, the love should move into the third stage, into a transforming kind of love, which is already the beginning of agape love, really. All courtships in view of marriage should lead to this stage. Otherwise, no marriage will be genuine if it only remains within the pagmamahal stage. Worst, if it is only in the eros stage. In the third stage, the value and vision shared are not only recognized and respected. Rather, each person is transformed into better persons by these shared values and vision. The fourth stage is the PAG-IBIG or PAG-AALAY stage, also known as pakikiisa, and pakikipagkapwa stage. In English, this is the communion love stage, or in Greek, agape 2 stage of love. The transforming love of the previous agape 1 kind, nurtured by God's love and mercy, may flower into communion love. Take note that not all agape 1 love should flower into agape 2 kind of love, This highest form of love is the only proper context of marital love, where one can truly say, "I give my life for you." Take note as well that not all agape 2 loves are meant for the marital kind of love, as this is also the love in the heart of priests, religious men and women, or the single blessed ones, and all Christians willing to offer their lives for God. This is the context of this lecturette on marital love life, and we shall examine this love life within communion love. The following is a quick checklist of what it takes to make marital love work. It is not complete, but we can start with this list. The first 2 elements of marital relations are love and openness.
The first thing to check in one's love life is, of course, love, agape love. This is communion love, the love that binds us to the beloved. For now, we shall only look at one element of marital communion love: communication. Of course, in the beginning of a relationship, communication is mostly self-revelation, which is interesting at first. But over time, there are many circumstances that allow you to see the quality of a person's mind, like the way he or she solves problems, or comes to conclusions, and thinks about life. Something you probably did not see during your courtship and engagement periods. Both of you should keep in mind that the bedrock of agape communication is mutual respect, that rests in the comfort and admiration for each other's opinions, feelings and needs. Take note, as well, that if agape communication is not present, contempt is just around the corner. The second element of love life is openness. Marriage exists in a constantly changing world. Couples need to be able to talk about these changes, how they feel about them, and what they want to do in response. They need to have a sense of teamwork, one arrived at by discussion, and joint action. If one person refuses to discuss things, one or both persons will feel that the relationship is not intimate, and perhaps unfair. Remember, if no one's talking, there is no way to fix a problem and keep it from getting worse.
Thus, the bedrock of agape communication is mutual respect. Respect of the other's opinions, needs, and feelings. Without communication, no solutions will ever be reached in conflicts and marital problems. The third and fourth elements of marital love life are vision and empowerment.
The third element of love life is your vision, shared vision. What do you search for as a couple? What do you long for? And what do you strive to achieve together? It is true that our communion relationships are often limited, and eventually tarnished, not by our inabilities and weaknesses, but by our vision. If one person is ambitious, and the other person wants a lifestyle that doesn't support that ambition, there will be growing resentment. The fourth item in your love life checklist is empowerment. Communion marital love is a persistent effort on the part of two people to create for each other the circumstances that enable the very best to come forth, in which each can become the person God intended him or her to be. How do they do this? By giving each other the AAA treatment. All people feel better and do better when you give them attention, affirmation, and appreciation, says John C. Maxwell. Just imagine what this treatment can do to your beloved and your communion relationship.
Do you still share the same vision? Is it godly or primarily material? Check your individual ambitions. If there is a disparity in your goals, there will always be resentments that can even lead to breakups. Do you still verbalize your attention, affirmation, and appreciation? The fifth and sixth elements of your love life are listening, indwelling, and being in sync.
The fifth is listening. If you want to feel alone in a relationship, then be with someone who hasn't a clue about what you are going through. Or worse, someone who does have a clue, but cannot understand why your pain is a big deal. The two of you can be totally different people in a number of ways, but if a partner is sensitive to how you see the world and experience life, then those differences are unimportant. The sixth elements in your love life are indwelling and being in sync. To indwell is to reside within the same spatio-temporal and spiritual world. That is why communion marital love is conjugal love, meaning indwelling love. Necessarily, both should be on the same wavelengths, that is, in complete accord or harmony. Although it sometimes works, if people have different priorities, most often, being out of sync is damaging in the long run. Thus, allotting time in your day, your week, and your life for your partner is an important ingredient in marital relationship. If one person wants to spend every weekend relaxing in front of the television, when the other wants to hike, bike and explore, both will feel deprived. Of course, this may not necessarily show up in the busy early years of child raising, but over time, it can become a real problem. Here's an apt warning. If you think and feel that marriage is all about seeing things, and doing things, as if just being together isn't enough, then check your indwelling love. Are you still in sync?
The two of you can be totally different people, but when you both listen from the heart, then those differences are unimportant. Although it sometimes works, if people have different priorities, most often, being out of sync is damaging in the long run. Align your priorities. The seventh and eighth elements of your love life are flexibility, forgiveness, and enthusiasm.
The seventh items in your marital love life are flexibility and forgiveness. Although it may be mistaken for strength, rigidity is not a good personal or marital quality. If someone doesn't like to admit that he or she is wrong, or at least show some flexibility in how they view problems, the partnership will be either fragile or full of anger and loneliness. And here's an important note. Should your beloved give up an idea, or yield to your insistence, please do not see it as weakness. Rather, count it in as a virtue, as flexibility. And remember, there is no marriage in which the ability to apologize and be flexible are not necessary. And finally, the eighth item in your love life is enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is great excitement for, or interest, in the other. It originally comes from the Greek words, en, and theos, meaning, in God. It was associated with being possessed by a divine presence of God. It was the word used to describe the energy, fervor, and inspiration that people exuded when they were possessed by a supernatural spirit. Enthusiasm, thus, is associated with inspiration, intense zeal, focus and enjoyment. You will easily see where marital enthusiasm comes from. It comes only from being in God. Hence, marital communion love is not genuine love life at all, if the relationship is not in God. The relationship should, indeed, be blessed by God.
In a genuine marital love based on agape 2 kind of love, the couple can say freely and sincerely, we are both equally willing to make adjustments in the relationship. A relationship where there are no admissions of fault is bound to end in a falling apart and eventually a breakup. Remember that complete forgiveness and healing in marriage can only come from God. Is your relationship blessed by God? Let us again look at the elements in your love life. Is there agape, unconditional love in your hearts? Is there openness in your relationship? Do you still share the same vision? Do you still empower one another by giving each other attention, affirmation, and appreciation? Do you still listen to each other from the heart? Can you still truly admit that whatever each of you goes alone, the other's love inside indwells within you so that you are genuinely faithful to that love? Are your priorities still in sync? In dealing with problems, is there flexibility in your minds and hearts? In dealing with each other's weakness, is there genuine forgiveness in your hearts? And finally, is your love life in God or in theos or enthused? Is there still an enthusiasm to please God? O ano, kamusta na ba ang love life mo? Happy Hearts Day to all in advance. May God bless you. Amen.